Alright, tell y'all, something just came to my attention that bears repeating now. Something has been, I want to say abhorrent, as it takes a lot of moxie to try and say, oh well, we should ban guns in one of the most gun-friendly countries in the world. You know, never mind the Second Amendment or none of that. I mean, alright, let me just come out and say this. I just got done watching a fella here on the YouTube by the name of the Yankee Marshal. Son, soft-spokenness ain't no gonna fix nothing. We tried that back in the 80s. We tried that back in the 70s. Shit, we tried that back in the 60s. Soft-spoken gets you nothing but tread upon. Now, this was all over a video that he did about a senator, which happens to be in the Senate right now, in the House. And it's kind of irritating that this man would even represent something so abhorrent as the TAPS Act, or the TARP Act, or the red flag laws, which we in California have had plenty of understanding about. See, unfortunately, this gentleman is a veteran. Now, before y'all veterans start going on getting all high and mighty and shit and understand this, I fucking cannot stand a man who says he is a vet and does not stand for the very fucking things he swore an oath to uphold and defend with his own very life. And this man was a Navy SEAL. Now, I'm about to quote the SEAL defrocking poem. So, you ladies and gentlemen who are, or sorry, you gentlemen who are Navy SEALs, please turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to this, because I'm about to piss someone off. Because I am pissed off. You who call yourself SEAL, yet stand against your brethren, take off your trident. It is not to be upon your breast. You have not earned it, and it is not your worth. You have not stood for that which you have sworn an oath to. And any man who states that he swears upon the Bible, or upon everything he holds dear, or upon blood itself, to uphold and defend the United States Constitution against all comers, both foreign and domestic, and then becomes a lawmaker, and forgets his brethren, his code, and his creed, is not a Navy SEAL, but a sheep in wolf's clothing. You are not one of us wolves. Step aside, for ye are not worthy. Cast aside your trident, your code, because you are no longer one of us. You have not stood, and I will not stand for it. All the rest of y'all, it really irks me to have to even to utter those words. Y'all understand that that's some heavy shit, and I ain't very proud of it. Matter of fact, I'm disgusted by it about as much as that particular skeeter on my hand. As a matter of fact, I am even more disgusted by it. I consider it to be a situation which I must rectify immediately. So therefore, I have taken to YouTube, because to utilize arms, even against somebody so abhorrent as someone who would swear an oath and then detract from that oath by siding with those who he thinks will get him reelected. Didn't you understand the name of the mission, son? Nobody gives a shit about your second elections. You ain't done shit with your first. You have failed. To say that you would advocate for something so abhorrent as something that we Californians have to deal with every fucking day of our lives, something that literally makes it so that your next door neighbor could murder you in your sleep and you wouldn't know about it, except to wake up to that blade in your chest. You are not worthy. You see this flag here? I stand for that flag. I bled on it. And I will never back down from the Second Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. As it was so stated by the Founding Fathers, a militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. As it was originally written, I have respoken it here. No soft words, no conversation or banter. Solid and steady as she goes. And understand something. We, as the United States militia, will never back down from that right and proper. For if we do, we have lost. What sickens me more than a senator who has actually served in the United States military, sworn an oath to uphold said Constitution twice, and reaffirmed that oath all through his service, I find it impossible that you cannot remember the words of that oath. When somebody who has never served in the United States military, but instead as a Minuteman in a militia, can remember the words you uttered word for word, you have failed. It is disgusting that I have to even say something about this. That this particular subject needs to be broached again. I've had family members that died and shed their blood specifically for this purpose. I've had family members who came back from war fucked up from all the flora, specifically because they believed that they were standing up for the oath that they took. When they got home, they were disgusted with themselves, but they did not back down from that oath. They kept it and they held it. And that is why I am the man I am today. Because those men and women kept that oath and they held it. As we hold the line now, if you cannot do your duty, step down. because you won't be getting reelected. If you cannot grow a set of balls and do what you need to do, you will not be reelected. Especially by Republicans. And trust me, son, I ain't no damn Republican. I'm an independent. My vote can swing either goddamn way. Precisely why I have not voted in California, because if I do vote in California, my vote counts as a Democratic vote. Even though I vote completely alternative to that. This last presidential election, I actually voted for Benjamin Weigel from the Veterans Party, and my vote would have counted possibly for more had my ballot actually hit the box instead of being arrested before I was able to make it there. Just in case y'all were wondering why I consider myself to be a political prisoner of war. This is war. If you cannot bring yourself to be capable of doing your duty, do not call yourself a public servant. You are not. If you are not capable of evicting a problem from in front of you with a simple vote, you are not doing your duty, and therefore are no public servant. And to our president, sir, I know you are not for or against gun legislation in any which way, one whit or the other. I know you are a salesman, and that is all that you do very well. Understand something. I am the son of a salesman. Bullshit aside, miss me with your crap. Either stand firm or step down. This is an independent saying this. If I'm saying this, you can be damn sure that the left and the right are going, what the fuck is up with this guy? As always, I will fucking bleed red to make sure that the fucking stripes stay on that flag. And I will do it with a smile on my face. But if you stand against my ability to do such a thing, then you are my enemy, and I will show you no mercy. For we show our enemies absolutely no mercy. We show our allies kindness and respect, but our enemies cower in fear for that one reason. Now you might say, damn, you sound angry, son. Fucking A rights, I'm angry, and you should be too. If you're an American, if you're even a human being, you should be outraged. You should be having a fit of absolute hair-pulling confuckery at the mere thought that a politician would even question the validity of the Second Amendment. Let me ask you this. In a country where there are more guns than citizens, how do you take down the only opposition to a tyrannical government? By making the ownership and use of those particular tools which we would utilize in order to affect our liberties and freedom, and making those tools into a cause for illegality, felonious action, or criminal nature. any effect that is taken against the Second Amendment in any form is by its very nature an act of treason against the Constitution of the United States, and therefore an act of treason against its citizenry. And if you are not outraged, then you had better get a set of balls. You better dig down deep, motherfucker, because there's a good goddamn unholy war coming, and it's coming right to your doorstep. You really make me sick. And that's a tall ass order, because I got a cast iron stomach and I'd eat things that make a billy goat puke. So if you think for a second that this particular legislation is in any way, shape, or form going to aid American citizens, you are wrong. Because you would not listen to my voice as a vote. You will listen to my voice as an opinion, which is there for the masses to uphold. Because you have no ability to have cognizant thought, by the very nature of the laws which you have passed, I would state very clearly that you have not earned your rifle. Because your competency level is lacking. And if I can say that your competency level is lacking, there's something serious there. Because my competency level has always been in question. If I can state beyond a shadow of doubt that you have no competency in this matter, yeah, speak the fuck up or forever hold your pieces. Because that's where you're going to be. I do not appreciate it. My fellow Americans do not appreciate it. And we are tired of your bullshit. I would not spread that on my lawn. It's too thick and hot. I would not feed my tomatoes with it. You, sir, shame your brothers in arms, and you have shamed me. I spit at your feet. For you would uphold an ideal pressed forth by those who would seek to supplant the entirety of the Constitution of the United States of America. You have not earned your place. And unlike you, I have earned this patch. This one that shows the stars and the stripes. That patch that denotes that I am a United States Minuteman and that I will die for liberty or make the other man die before so. This patch is something I have earned. It is something that you have not. Because the actions which you have taken in the interest of aiding those who would utilize tyranny and oppression to supplant the American people have been extolation worthy. I hold this flag very dear to my heart. So much so, I take it everywhere with me. On my wallet. This wallet that is a pain in the ass to try and take from me without grabbing my dick. Because if you got a set of balls on you, you ain't gonna touch it because it's sitting around mine. So Senator Crenshaw and all other Republican senators, earn your flag or die with it waving over your carcasses. We're done playing games. Americans everywhere are finally tired. And you being an American, you know what it means when an American is tired. It means we ain't got time for your bullshit. And son, you better go clean off your freaking boots before you go kicking around more cow pies. You already got enough mud down there to go and stock a circus. Now, I have, in my time, been told that some of these folks served in the military. If that's the case, y'all boys in the military, come over here and join us with the militia. Because they're making you into girls. We'll make you into men. I fucking guarantee it. I don't like the way that these men are being treating our country. And those women that are sitting there in Congress, y'all ain't getting off scot-free. No. Just because y'all are with that mad crowd. MADD. Or sorry, MAFD. MAD. Mothers Against Firearms. See, we have seen it happen throughout history, in our country and in others, that when one freedom becomes called into question in a matter of safety, that the people will capitulate. Well, excuse me. I did not lose my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, family members of prior, brothers in arms, friends who helped us on the battlefield, and all those freedom-loving American patriots who died here in America on American soil via the guns of their brethren, FBI, NSA, FPA. In case y'all don't know what that is, that's the Federal Police Force of America. State police officers. Local police officers. County Sheriff's Department. Y'all are against all of us. Because we all respect this one thing very truthfully. The right to keep and bear arms is the ability for one to be able to defend themselves. And that the best way for one to defend oneself is via technology. As has been done since the dawn of man. When Cain slew Abel, Cain used a jawbone of an ass, not his fists. at the Battle of Troy, they weren't sitting there boxing. They had swords and shields, the most advanced tools of defense and offense of the day. What is the most advanced weapons, which are tools, technology, of this day? No, it's not guns, but damn it, guns are pretty close. It's nukes and railguns and air guns. Believe it or don't, those are the most advanced weapons of the day. And yet, air guns, nuclear explosives, and firearms are all technologies that have been around for at least 75 years. So, if those are the most advanced weapons of the day, and yes, railguns are new technology, but not entirely. They've been around since World War II. If those are the most advanced weapons of the day, the most advanced technology that we human beings utilize in order to defend ourselves and create of ourselves the ability of offense should we need to be able to take back invaded lands, and y'all motherfuckers are sitting there banning them, then you should disorganize your security personnel. Destroy your bunkers and walk to your jobs. Notice how I didn't say your duties, because your duties have been remissed. You have failed to represent me, to represent Californians, to represent Americans abroad, and here in the States. You have failed to represent every single one of those men, women, and possibly children who are dying overseas right now. You have failed to represent the thousands, nay, the hundreds of thousands, nay, the millions who have died fighting for that one cause we call the Constitution of the United States of America: liberty, justice, and pursuit of happiness. Therefore, since you are remiss of duties, you are defrocked. Remove those pins. You do not represent us. Remove yourselves from office. You do not represent us. And any time that you feel free and froggy, you come down and you see me. I'll show you what a real frogman is. Oh yeah, I said it. I'm a United States Minuteman who was trained to be a Minuteman by a United States Marine, and a United States Army Ranger, and a United States Navy SEAL, and the son of a United States Army Ranger who happened to be my drill. You think you got what it takes? Then you show up here, and you show up without an escort, and you take a swing. We'll see how far you get before you start begging me for mercy. I will not show it, because you have done nothing if not destroy the very foundations of the country which I have stood for my entire life and lives prior. You have destroyed the very nature of an institution which was created for the equality of all. Now, it's been said, and I'm going to quote a gentleman here. I don't know exactly who he is. Don't remember exactly where it comes from. So I do apologize for that. However, I will not apologize for what I'm about to say. And I quote, "Well, God certainly made all mankind. But in the act of fairness, Mr. Cope made all men equal." And a second quote. This one I do remember who said it. And I want you to take very close understanding of this quote, because it will come back to bite you in the ass. And I will be there with a smile on my face when it does. But for those who would make peaceful protest impossible, I say this: flee in fear, for ye make violent revolution inevitable. Rest in peace, Mr. President. God, I wish you were here now, in order to stand up and show an actual set of balls to these young men, because they ain't got them. And I say these young men, I want you all to understand, my generation, millennials, y'all are a bunch of pussies. You couldn't fucking stand up to a wet noodle beating you across the face. Y'all go and complain about the slightest little fucking thing instead of doing it yourself. Grow a set of balls and stand the fuck up and do something, or shut the fuck up and sit down. Cause you ain't worth a goddamn monkey fuck on a goddamn altar top. You don't work. You don't get anything done. You know what the scary thing is? I'm on Social Security, and I still work my ass off. I earn every red cent a second fucking time. What does that say about y'all? Sorry. Everything you had to say just right now, that just made my nose itch. I'm allergic to bullshit. Speak up. Something wrong with your tongue, son? Oh, that's right. You were castrated the other day. Had them hormones injected into your ass. Well, let me tell you something. The only thing that I really think about when I hear the word hormones is when a whore moans. So, y'all better just take your ass back to the doctor and ask him for a freaking rebuild. By the way, once they cut that thing off, it's really difficult to put back on. Especially when it's as small as I have a suspicion that y'all are at. Alright, because if it's this small, I'm at that, like, god damn. And, as far as this soft conversation is concerned, the time for soft conversation is over. It's time to pick up your big stick and start whacking about you, because motherfuckers ain't listening. When do you realize that the presidents of old were warning you? When do you recognize that the Minutemen of today aren't terrorists, but your friends your family, men and women who are trying their damnedest to stand up for you and protect you from the worst that this world has to offer. Because understand something. The United States military, while they are great people, most of them really are, and I extol them. Because while they are in the military, they are like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't believe I'm standing here next to this pansy ass. Get him off my squad line. Y'all shut up and you got with it. You did what you had to do in order to get the job done. You know what? I respect you for that. To the rest of y'all dumb motherfuckers. You ain't worthy to lick my boots as I'm kicking your teeth down your throat. I have had my fill of getting fucked up the tailpipe and asking for more. I have not been represented in Congress since 2009, nor have most of the constituency which I belong to. The Independent Party is a lot larger than most people are willing to recognize, and our representatives have not been in Congress for one very declarative reason. We stopped voting back in the day because we got tired of it. The dichotomy of dumbassery has gotten out of hand. If y'all cannot reform yourselves, fucking forget trying to reform us. Your re-education will only end up in your own labor. Understand something. By trying to re-educate the true conservative folks of the American public, the ones who have looked at the dichotomy of dumbassery and said, I don't belong, you ain't gonna win. As a matter of fact, you're gonna end up just pissing us off more. You know what happens when you piss us off more? Didn't think so. When you piss us off more, the American people have to stand up and actually shout out with one voice, solidly and unitedly, this will not pass. This will not fly. That rat with wings is dead on the ground. That dog don't hunt. If you got a problem with what I'm saying, take your ass on. I will not censor anything you say, but you know what? Your views ain't welcome here, and you will be tread upon. The reason why I say that? Since I was 4 years old, count that, for you Europeans, 4 years old, I have been a steadfast reinforcer of the Second Amendment because it allows me the ability to speak freely, openly, with my own vocabulary, in my own mannerisms. To be understanding and understood, and to be heard, as well as to hear. You see, the First Amendment is not just a one-way street. It is a two-way street. If I cannot hear what the other person is saying, I don't know what I'm arguing against. And if they cannot hear me, then they think that they are righteous, and everything they say is the golden apples. Y'all put a crick in my neck. I find you abhorrent. Stand aside or I will walk through you. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, but the enemy of my friend is my enemy. And my friends, we all stand for the Second Amendment. Whether it be by fist, by firearm, or by knife, we all stand for the Second Amendment. Now, all you left-wing folks, you say, oh, well, y'all shouldn't have assault rifles. Excuse me? What the hell is that? Are you beating somebody over the head with a boring tool? If you are, I mean, I understand it. Yeah, okay. Ban the assault itself. Yes. But why ban an inanimate object? That object didn't just pick its happy ass up off the freaking machine table and decide to beat somebody over the head. Nah, somebody picked it up and did that with it. Oh, you mean the firearms. Forward assist infantry rifles. Or, sorry, light machine guns. Okay. Those are already banned in America. What the fuck you still on for? Oh, and by the way, they shouldn't be banned in America. For serious. Because what happens when a government has the ability to call upon its military in order to attack and take down its citizenry in order to enslave them? Anybody know? Well, I'd quote Edward Longshanks here and say that a free peasant is abhorrent to an appropriated government. But what do I know about English history? I do know about American history, and I do know this. Give me liberty or give me death. For by my death I will have my liberty. But I was not born a slave, and I will not die in chains. I will break these chains you lay upon me, for they are the fetters of a fool, and they have their flaws. Every door that is locked is not truly locked. Every window that is closed is not truly closed. And every armored vehicle is not truly armored. The armor of faith is the only thing I ask and the only thing I carry, aside from my firearm, my air guns, and my knives, for one reason: because I don't like it that I have to kill somebody someday in order to protect my own life or those that I love. I don't agree that anybody should ever be forced into that corner, but I accept it wholeheartedly. Because I recognize that the most prized possession a man may have is his life. More so than his car, more so than his dog even. Though his dog is a very high prized possession. And God help you, you ever kick a man's dog, or you shoot a man's dog. You better expect to wake up one night with a knife blade running across your hyoid bone, Because that's dead serious. You kill a man's dog, he's coming after your ass. It's just a matter of time. And that matter of time depends on how long he's been in jail. You shoot a man's dog and you fucking take his ass to jail, he's got a lot of time to think about how he's going to do it. The less time you give him, the better advantage you have. But if you make that man live the rest of his life in that prison cell, I guarantee you this, he will find a way to escape once his plan is conceived, and he will come after you. Why? Because Americans are always first. Minutemen. Soldiers. Without that class. Soldiers. Without that rigid, broomstick up the ass trained to freaking straight up, straightforward, keep your eyes focused on the ball bullshit. The reason why I put it that way is we do train. But I will never train my men to be so broomstick shoved up the ass stiff that they can't keep their heads on a swivel and keep their minds open and focused. I will never train a man to wait for an order. That's how the militia works. You don't need permission, get it done. So, to come back to this full circle. Do you have a right to take somebody else's life if they are doing you no harm? No. What is it that Representative Crenshaw is advocating is exactly that. Because, mark my words, and mark them well. If you allow this sort of crap to happen, even if you vote and it goes through anyways, and you do not stand up and make the cities ring with your voices, you are as much to blame for our 1984 Orwellian bullshit that we're going to have to go through. Every last one of you. And you have lost my respect. Understand something. I used to have a nickname when I was on the ground in my first campaign. Can you think of what that nickname was? Maybe you can see it in this particular photograph, the way that my skull shows through my face. Still lost for it, huh? Then I will quote you a line from the Hindu text, which was requoted by one of our fellow Americans. Behold, I am become death, Destro, destroyer of worlds, reaper of souls. And now I visit you on swift wings. This was my nickname. So yeah, y'all want to say, oh well, you got a lot of talk and I'm not a lot of walk. Cause you ain't forced my hand yet, asshat. When the day comes, there is not an action nor a grace above nor below that will save you from me. Because I take everything in a calculated and very slow approach. And I strike with the speed of lightning. So, if you think that by greater gun laws you're going to be able to defend against a tyrannical government, you're gonna need motherfuckers like me. You're gonna need Minutemen and Marines. And there's a reason why I say that, and that is because a Marine is not a soldier. He is not a sailor. He is not an airman. He is a Marine. And Marines are the few men that can hold their own alongside a Minuteman. Because we have nothing but time to train. Nothing but time to figure out our game plans. And the United States Marine Corps is trained to the extent that they cannot be trained further. The reason why they call them jarheads is not because that's all that they should be able to fit into their head, but because they can't fit anything more in there. It's already been screwed down tight. I am tired, exhausted by your continuous rhetoric of utter bullshit. There are 3 words which hold the most weight in any format. Shall, liberty, and duty. So if you think that your duty is over because you are a retired Marine, I'm sorry to say it, but you are not done yet. If you think that your liberty is guaranteed, ask a felon what they think. Because you could become one just as easily. And if you think that it's okay to sign on these laws, you take a good long hard look at those words at the end of the Constitution where it says, shall not be infringed. And you tell me, you go ahead and tell me how these laws don't infringe on that particular right. I guarantee you every single red-blooded American, even blue-blooded American, y'all cops understand what I'm saying, would stand up and say, with one solemn voice, not on my watch. Not while I still have breath in my body. And you're going to have to rip it from my cold dead carcass over the tops of your brothers. Commodore Price out.